So what's next in your bucket for these students?
So next is communication skills.
Okay.
And why it is important?
I think communication is important everywhere, like irrespective of the industry. I think it is the most important aspect of your life.
Right.
So
Right.
whether it's professional or personal, communication is the key.
Yes, and especially in the industry or in any part of your life, right? If you cannot communicate well, there are a lot of gaps,
Yes.
right? So it is an important aspect. And if I see a lot of students, they are good in programming skills.
Yeah.
They understand things really well.
Technically, they are at par with the good people. Like they
Right.
have good skills. They have a scope of improvement. They have a scope to build upon it, but they lack somewhere in communication. They generally have problem in explaining their thoughts to other people, or
Right.
sometimes even understanding what other is trying to convey.
Yes. So if I know something and if I cannot explain it to you or explain it to my team or explain it to my seniors or maybe my colleagues, my teammates,
Yeah.
then my knowledge is not much helpful to them.
Yeah, because it's stopping you from implementing it.
Yes. And when we build huge softwares or when we work as part of team, that communication is very important.
Correct.
Right. You can have a different style of communication, but you should be able to communicate.
Yeah.
Right. So a student should try to understand whether they have a very good communication skills or not. If they do not have, they should focus upon building upon it. And effectivity of the communication is very important.
Yeah.
Right. You are talking a lot, but it's not effective. You are not conveying the meaningful message. It's not useful. Right.
Yeah.
So you should have a good conversation. You should be able to convey what you want very clearly.
Yeah.
So, and if you do not build upon these skills, of course, you know a lot of things, but chances are less that you will be able to crack an interview, right? They can crack. I'm not saying they will not be able to crack the interviews, but somewhere, if there are two person with the same skill set, one is having very good communication skills, so chances are that the one with the good communication skill is going to be hired fast.
Yeah.
Right.
Because like a good communication skill give you a leverage over other people who doesn't have that skill, and it gives you more. It opens up new areas of employment for you. There are certain jobs where their success depend on their communication skill.
Absolutely.
So it opens up new areas for you as well.
Absolutely. And especially in industry, it's very important that communications are very clear.
Yeah.
Right. You need to communicate clearly to the team who is waiting for the deliveries. You need to communicate things clearly to the customers. Right. So initially you may not be directly communicating with the team, but now since there are a lot of startups, a lot of small organizations, so maybe
and this remote thing, like where you are not present with each other physically, so you have to explain yourself over calls and over web calls and all that. So it put more emphasis on the communication capability.
Right. In remote culture, this has become a critical part that you should be able to communicate. Otherwise, there is no other way of communication these days when you are working from home, right? So this is important area. And another thing related to communication skills, I would say somehow that they can try to build their professional profile.
Yeah.
Right. It's a way what they want to communicate about themselves to the world, to the recruiters, to the open world. Right. So they should try to build their professional profile. They should try to enhance their technical writing skills.
Yes, it's a new and highly in demand thing.
Right, right. They can read something and then they can try to write it back so that somebody can read it and understand what's going on.
Yeah, as we know that documentation is very critical and most neglected part in software industry.
Right. Yeah. And this is very important. Really. Like,